It's July 24th, and on this day in 1974, Atari unleashed Gran Trak 10 upon American arcades. There's a bit of a misconception about arcade games throughout the 1970s, namely that they consisted of nothing but Pong ripoffs until Space Invaders came along, and everyone started making Space Invaders ripoffs instead. There is a little truth to that, but plenty of game makers explored other concepts as well. Many early arcade video games took existing electromechanical arcade game concepts and turned them into primitive analogs. You had plenty of shooting games, sports games, and of course, racing games. In fact, racing was one of gaming's earliest genres. Pong hit the scene in 1972, and by the following year, Atari had followed up with Space Race. Space Race is not what you would think of as a racing game today. If something like Ridge Racer is a marathon, Space Race was more like a game of red light, green light, a single-screen competition in which players tried to make the trip from the bottom to the top as quickly as possible while avoiding random obstacles. The following year, Taito took this same concept with Speed Race and added vertical scrolling to it, incorporating an actual racetrack into the game's design, but it was still a linear top-to-bottom affair like Spy Hunter. Atari launched the next salvo in the racing game's arms race in the summer of 1974 when it debuted Gran Trak 10. Gran Trak took the genre back to a single screen, but it lent structure to the race. Rather than playing out along a seemingly endless ribbon of straight road, Gran Trak 10 turned a single screen into a convoluted racetrack. Players zipped around the loop as quickly as they could, aiming for the best race time and trying to cut through curves as efficiently as possible. This brought about a massive change in how players related to their car. Space Race was about moving forward as quickly as possible. Speed Race added side-to-side movements while you darted straight ahead. But in Gran Trak, the car could move freely through 360 degrees of motion. The graphics were minimal, but it was easily the most complex take on racing to date. Racers eventually shook out into two styles until the move to 3D graphics allowed for more immersive realism. The linear style of Speed Race became the behind-the-car style of pole position and outrun, while Gran Trak 10's top-down view became a fixture of multiplayer racers, like Off-Road and RC Pro-Am. Yeah, those white dots on that black background may not look like much today, but 41 years ago, they were a video game revolution. For US Gamer, I'm Jeremy Parrish. We'll be back next week with a look at the beginnings of a beloved RPG series.